Match day trace 5.
Diving.
What do you think about them?
He's not a man. There's nothing more to say.
Diving in glory.
Yeah, welcome back. Diving for Glory, a podcast that looks at football as an obsession. I am your host, Pep Corciola, trying my best to stay focused and hungry after such glory last week, man. Staying at peak performance, never ever weak, son. Sir Malo, the hell, Sir Solomon, what up? This week, man, a coaching legend makes a long overdue announcement. Barcelona look to ease the pain of Champions League failure. Serie A race looks for clarity, and the FA Cup semis bring together old pals. Also a recap of EPL, La Liga, and as always, the prestigious and egregious D4G Awards section. Diving for Glory is now posting every Monday on iTunes and divingforglory.com, and now you can also find us on YouTube. Video D4G next season, man. Follow us on Twitter at Diving for Glory and Facebook as well. Follow it, hashtag, like it, whatever's clever, man. All right, just the cup, jerseys tucked, boots lace, Diving for Glory. Let's go. And we have to open up with some of the biggest news, something Arsenal fans have been probably waiting for maybe at least 5 years. Arsene Wenger steps down. He is not retiring, but he is quitting Arsenal. How you feel about that, Sir Solomon?
It's due. Also, even though it is due, be careful what you wish for, because you don't know what they're going to replace him with. Even though they haven't been championship team for the past how many years, he's had them punching above their weight and finishing in positions that they shouldn't for a while. And if they don't make the right choice, it seems like Arsenal could go further down, you know?
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was saying to my buddies was that, you know, if they suffer anything similar to a Sir Alex hangover, they'll be looking at 10th place next year. They'll be sitting down there with Everton.
Yeah, but they have a good scout that they just got last year. They got him despite, like, Arsene Wenger didn't really have any interest in the guy, and the club still signed him, so you knew that at some point it was going to come to a head, you know? The guy that got from
Dortmund guy?
Dortmund guy. I forget his name, it's weird. But so what it seems is like they told him, like, you have to jump or we'll push you, but it doesn't matter what happened. He's the club's best ever manager by far. And what gets overlooked is that after his winning decade, when things started slowing down, initially they used and he participated in basically building Emirates Stadium and getting it paid off. Like, so that time was not just wasted. Like the last 4 years or 5 years, I'll give you that much, but like there was a lot of work that this guy put in as part of their organization that needs like recognition. Like he changed Arsenal like no person ever has or will.
The fact that it's paid off is like mind blowing. And
it happened in like 4 years or some shit.
Yeah, I feel that. There is rumors that Stan the Man Kroenke was actually the one who forced him out, man. What are the chances? Do you think he was forced out? Do you think he would have came back for that last year?
I think he would have, but the fans' reactions lately has the rest of the board felt like it was time, and it was just due. It was getting to be messed up and kind of sad to watch, you know?
It was, and I think for my money, like, you know, speaking of money, once it starts affecting money, then Stan's going to be like, and you missed Champions League 2 years in a row. I mean, these are, you know, like you said, empty like, fan seats. Like, these are things affecting the bottom line.
If you look at Manchester United's Adidas sponsorship or their sponsorship with GM, they both have clauses that if they don't make it to the Champions League 2 years in a row, the amount that they make will actually go down a certain percentage.
Oh, wow.
Like that direct kind of impact is what I'm saying.
Yep,
So,
yep, absolutely.
So I can see what you're saying in terms of, you don't meet certain milestones, then it's time to go.
So it's easy to stay right in the moment, to be in the moment, to say, hey, he's leaving a slightly tarnished legacy. 10 years from now, will people still feel that way?
It depends on what happens going forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do they hire? Because if they go on and build off of this and go back to where they were, then yeah. If not, and they just keep losing for the next 10 years, for example, then his percentages are high, man. Like, he won a lot in a very short time, and then, you know, even towards the end, he won like back-to-back FA Cups and stuff. Like, a lot of teams don't.
I mean, what was it? 18 straight years in the Champions League or something crazy. Like, so yeah. The next question was, I mean, where does Arsenal go from here? And do you think they'll be better off without him next year?
Yes, I think they'll be better off without him, only because whatever happens, the beginning of the next Arsenal, like needing to, like it's late starting, like this whole process. And even if next year's a wash and whoever you hire gets fired, whatever, like that process has to start at some point. And it's about 3 years past when it should have happened, I think.
It's definitely just like a relationship that you should have ended a long time ago, and you're like putting it off because you don't really want to deal with the emotion of breaking up. Yeah. And now you're like, it's too, like, you wasted some time. You should have been broken up. Yeah.
And the contenders for the job.
The next question: best coaching options. Who do you think? A lot of people out there, a lot of names being floated.
They float around. They're all uninspiring to me. Like, I don't know. Luis Enrique, he's a guy.
he's a guy who's won a treble and has Barca DNA. And I float him out there because he's a good guy to go and get fired.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's a good guy to go give you a couple years.
He's gone to Italy and got fired trying to Barca it up there. So he could come to England and get fired doing the same thing. Yeah.
So a lot of course, there's that whole Simeone thing. My question about Simeone has always been, how do we know he's just not the next Mourinho? Because, you know, he coaches a super gritty style. Is he going to come in and make Arsenal fucking pragmatic? Or is he...
I don't know, but if they win a title in 3 years, then let him be the next Mourinho.
For sure. I mean...
Won it in 12 years.
Tell that to the United fans. Anybody else? Allegri, Joachim Low.
Max Allegri, to me, has shown himself to be a decidedly average guy on most big occasions. Klinsmann is a buffoon.
That was a joke. That was not serious.
Okay.
But Low, Joachim Low.
Joachim Low... I mean, I don't know. He used to score Stuttgart back in the day, but I guess they'll have clean armpits and like their balls don't smell. But I don't know what he's like on everyday coach. He was a guy when he coached Stuttgart, and then he went into the German national team structure as assistant coach to Klinsmann and moved up from there. So his club career has actually been. You know?
Yeah. Tuchel.
He might,
Tuchel, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the formation guy and like very forward thinking, but I think that on a team, Thomas Tuchel would work better maybe on a team like Tottenham or something that has a smaller wage bill, like that you can tell people what to do more. But you can't have guys that are making like 320,000 and the guy that literally doesn't care what the name of the back of the jersey is. He builds teams game to game. Like, doesn't, you know, like, and that can grate on a lot of players.
So just too tough to call at this point. Could be anybody.
Could be anybody.
Could be.
This is the problem with when Arsenal if you watch the games, Arsenal, Wenger sits down, he has Pat Rice, Steve Gold, whatever, next to him, and they just watch the game. Like Mourinho used to have back in the day, like Steve Bruce and all, like a bunch of coaches that went on to become managers that would really give him tactics, and Carlos Queiroz, tactics, and tell him things like, yo, like bring on the kid or something, Arsene Wenger didn't have that. They could have slid that guy in as like some whole stopgap dude for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But now, you don't even...
It's like, were they prepared for this? It doesn't seem like it.
Because it's his club. That's the problem, was that any preparation... It's like if... like, you can't just do that like that. The guy be like, but why? Like, even when they try to hire GMs, he's like, what? Why? I don't believe in that.
I'm here.
Yeah, I got you.
I got this.
Yeah.
You don't even have to pay me extra.
That's another person for me to talk to? No, you don't have to talk to him. But why? This is my club.
So then he's been there 22 years, and so then the next question becomes like, do you think he'll be coaching next year?
No.
Done? Period? He's not taking a year off and coming back. That man wants to coach. He don't know nothing but coaching. He's coaching next year. Or he's coaching never again, in my opinion.
I think, and maybe it's my hope, but after the World Cup, he should just take on some national team take a long-term project.
Yeah. That would be cool.
That would be cool, a position where he could play his football without any worries about salary negotiations and this. Like, you could just put out a team and tell them, guys, let's do this.
I certainly would not have mind seeing Arsene coach this current France squad. That would have been more interesting.
They might have beaten Portugal than the shit they put out.
Yeah. No doubt. In my head, I would love...
that's gonna be his great revenge, is that he's gonna go and coach France, and Paul Pogba is going to be amazing, and Mourinho's going to get fired because he doesn't know how to play Pogba, but even Wenger knows how to play him.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. In my head, my fantasy world would love to see him go to PSG, because a couple things. Because I'd love to see what he would do.
Just to show the world that, like, everybody is going to sell their soul to the devil at some point?
That's part of it.
Okay. That is, like, essentially everything he doesn't stand for.
It's true, but it would be...
It's true, but they speak French.
From a straight... but from a footballing perspective, I would love to see what he would do with that type of talent. And what he would do with the unlimited funds that they would give him. I'd be interested.
Yeah, the unlimited funds here, he didn't spend them. They bought guys that he didn't want. Like, at the end, that's what they're doing. Like, he had the funds. They're like, oh, okay, so, like...
He had the funds, man, but he just never had wrapped his mind around, in my personal opinion, had never wrapped his mind around the inflation of the market.
Like, he did not want to get Aubameyang at all. And they just went and got the purchase.
Fuck it. They knew. The writing was on the wall. Anyway, respect, man. Arsene, like, congratulations. We know you listen to D4G every week, so.
Nah, I don't think that, he might have. Sir Alex Ferguson is the most dominant manager in the Premier League and in any sport that I've ever witnessed. Arsene Wenger might have changed the Premier League the most. He introduced diets, he introduced style of play that came from Europe that was based on passing and, like, beautiful football, and he forced teams to decide what they are. And, like, before, everybody just put out 4-4-2 squads in England, and they'll just go back and forth with each other, and you just have the better squad, so you'd win, right? Mm-hmm. Like, after him, whether you're a defensive coach or an offensive coach, like, the people started being identified, and like the guys that could stop certain styles of football, and this and that, and this all comes through Arsene Wenger. At some point, it outdated him too, but, like, he was the genesis of a lot of football in the Premier League.
No doubt. Respect to that, man. That's the game I came to love because I didn't know old EPL. No one has won the FA Cup more than Arsene Wenger, 7 times, I believe, and that's 3 in the last 4 years, including last year over Chelsea. And moving along to the FA Cup games, I think one of the games of the weekend was United and Tottenham in the semifinals, which Moo just fucking does it again to Pochettino, man.
So isn't it if you win the FA Cup, it's over everybody?
It's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But indirect competition. Vintage Mourinho in this match.
Vintage Mourinho. Vintage Pochettino. I mean, he kept telling us how much he didn't want to win this tournament, and he showed us how much he didn't want to win the tournament. He actually put out a team that I had no issues with. I don't like his right back and left back situation, and I think it's telling that Paul Pogba was drifting to that side when he crossed to Alexis Sanchez for that fucking Messi-esque fucking header.
It is in my notes that
but Trippier and homie on the
Davies.
Yeah, Davies. I would take 50% Danny Rose over some of the performances that these guys are putting out there, and the rest of the team is compact, but like these are key positions of isolation. Like you can't have the world know that your right back and your left back are substandard.
So to that, a couple points there. That is definitely in my notes. That wing back is basically just become an issue for them. Like over the top. They went from Kyle Walker and Danny Rose making, team of the year to these two characters. And the other guy was Kyle Walker Peters, who really hasn't played since the first game of the year.
Who's most famous for having Kyle Walker's in his name. But you can't just sell one guy for 50 million and then the other guy who was the left back of the year 2 years running, you just bench his ass and just look up to the ceiling and just hope nobody noticed.
And even with all that being said, Kyle Walker still made the team of the season this year at right back. So with all that being said,
as you should.
To go to I think about City last year, and for all the firepower that City had, a lot of the same players from this year, their wing back, those two positions were awful last year, dude, and they paid the price for it. Dude. Every game between Barca, Sonia, and Zabaleta, who in their prime were, it was tough, man. It was tough. Just shows you how important that position is and has become. I also thought Dembele was hella lackluster.
They play too much.
Yeah,
the guys in key positions just play too much. Squad rotation is not only for freshness, it's also for predictability issues, man. Like, you watch a Man City in a Tottenham game, and it's I could have told you this after the first Juve game. Like they start off, they played nice too. Like the first half, they were doing their thing, broke them open, they smashed their head.
Nice goal.
They're Tottenham, just the way they did against Juve.
Yeah.
They just get in there and then
took a nap.
Yep. And
let's take a nap. We're good. We're so awesome, God. We're the Spurs. We're so awesome.
In the second half of a Wembley game, and I was thinking maybe because they play at Wembley, there's nothing, they not feeling it.
Not feeling it. Yeah.
But
possibly.
Every big game possibility that they've had this season, other than what was it, that 2-0 over United, they've kind of
for sure
not showed up, man.
So Pogba, Sanchez, Herrera all balled out to me. This leaves Jose's 10-1-3 against Pochettino.
Yeah, lads, it's Spurs. Herrera put on he's a great foil for Pogba. Pogba plays really good when Herrera is on there with Matic. Fuck this McTominay bullshit. Fuck this whatever. Sucks that Juan Mata has to pay because Juan Mata has no mobility and can't really get stuck in. But
I'm with you. You throw Matic and Herrera back there and let Pogba do his fucking thing.
Yeah, that's basically. And then if Alexis Sanchez is feeling it, he'll come closer and try to get it. But I still think that even with this good performance and goal, like, they are losing out so much to play this guy that it's just...
So the last question before we move on is, where do you think, this is another trophyless season for Pochettino, where does this leave him, man? Is he in trouble?
No.
Nah, I don't think so
It's
either.
fine.
I don't think so either.
Fine.
One more year though. He has to do something next year. If he doesn't do anything next year, I think they'll have to move on.
It depends on what anything is. What if he finishes like second place next year and doesn't win anything? You know what I'm saying?
They'll look at that as progress.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
There's a lot to.
What
Like,
if
unless there's a huge uproar among fans, like the expectation, the clubs wise, like they might be pissed and like he might try to win something like a League Cup or something at some point. But if he keeps them the way they are, like just like 10 years ago, Spurs were like up and down the table.
So question then. If they totally, I do not think this is going to happen, but what if they just fucked it all off and fell out top 4 and let Chelsea take that spot? What about then?
Then they would have to reconsider their positions because a lot of players would want to leave because that is the last card that they have going for them right now is Champions League football. And I'll tell you this much: Toby Alderweireld will be out of the door, like which he's going to be anyways. But like
Danny Rose gone.
Oh, he's definitely gone. Also, a lot of guys like Son, all of those guys will really reconsider their position if you're playing in Europa. Like this is not business, Holmes.
Yeah, and Real Madrid will be licking their chops at that point, man. Like, oh, we're gonna come
Harry
in.
Kane came out talking about like he was disappointed at the efforts and shit in the game and blah blah blah. Like,
alrighty, bruh. It's getting it's tough, man. This is the fascinating thing to me, more so than any other sport that I've ever watched, is that you could just be chugging along, having a wonderful season, and 2 weeks in April, your shit can
yeah, man.
It can come crashing down, man. Who was your man of the match for this?
I would have to just hand it to Paul Pogba because I like the cross on that assist. And he was good. That was his, I think, 15th assist overall competition.
Was it? Oh man!
And he, I think, doubled last season's assist numbers that he had. And it's just nice to see him get applause instead of just always getting shit talked because he didn't track back or some bullshit.
Yeah, I got Pogba or Herrera. Herrera had an outstanding game to me.
His goal was nice too.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah, it was.
He finished it nicely. Yeah, I'd give it to him too, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Paul Pogba.
Word up. Moving along, the other FA Cup semi-final pitted Chelsea against seemingly relegation-bound Southampton, and Chelsea walked away with a comprehensive 2-0. It seems to be that they're rounding into form a little bit.
So you know what this game told us or guaranteed to us? By Southampton getting eliminated, next season, Europa League football, Burnley guaranteed. Unless not all the way guaranteed, but it's looking like Burnley because the teams right above them, all the teams playing, the final is Chelsea against Manchester United.
Yeah.
They're both ahead of them, so like that would open up a European space. So.
Oh really?
Yes,
Okay. That's right, because the winner of the FA goes.
Yes.
Okay, and so that opens up the spot, 7th place to make it. Okay.
Manchester doesn't need it. So
we're always wondering about that.
Exactly. Highest ranked.
Come clean, Giroud the Damager with the Messi-like fucking goal. Woo!
From the start to the end of that play, how many dudes dropped?
Like 3, at least.
5.
It was nasty. I've never seen
5
do that,
Southampton players. Let the bodies hit the flow. Let the bodies hit the flow.
It was a nasty fucking goal.
Yeah,
man. Giroud's been nice past few games, man.
Giroud's been nice past few seasons, man. It's just when you expect like greatness that there's a problem. But like he's a really good Premier League caliber like striker that like can execute a lot of moves, you know, like.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be like, if he's your primary guy for the whole season, you might have a bit of a problem because he gets gassed. Like, he's looking good now because Arsenal didn't play him a lot before they sold him.
Yep. And then Mortuata comes in and delivers the final blow for the second goal.
He is one of those rare people that scored a goal and just like disappointed. Like, we're watching it, my boy, and like he scored like first touch, and then after that he had like a hat trick of misses. He was just like such a cunt.
You should go spend the summer with Gigi, man. Like, just spend the summer with the dude. Like, learn, get some
nobody wants
cojones,
to see
man.
you cry. No.
But I mean, we started.
Then Gigi cried.
And Gigi cried.
And then Gigi cried again.
We started off the season. He started off the season. We called him Mortuata. Then he got some respect from us, but it's been downhill since about Boxing Day.
He had a great opening couple of months where he led the league in headed goals with like 6 out of his 7 goals, and he had goal with the left foot, right foot, header, all this.
Yeah.
And then he had a couple of bad games. And there was bad reaction to him, and I didn't know, he just disappeared from there.
No doubt. Like I said, man, comprehensive Chelsea domination, at least from a statistical standpoint. Almost the entire team scored above a 7.0 as far as their ratings are concerned. Hazard fucking worked out.
I mean, this is this kind of shit. Like, you have a bad defense that he can get in ISO and just dribble around and around and around and do whatever the fuck he wants. This is kind of game. More interestingly, this past week, Bakayoko has been making appearances on the Chelsea team. And
On the bench?
No, playing.
They've been playing, huh?
Yeah, he played in the midweek game that they won with an own goal or whatever, and then like I think he was on the bench in this one. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him next season too.
Yeah, it's brand new. So Chelsea moved to their second straight FA Cup final after losing to Arsenal last year. Southampton again, tough luck, man. Still hoping for a miracle to avoid relegation. And we get a final of United versus Chelsea. Someone is going home with no trophies this year. Who do you think this game is actually more important for?
If it's Mourinho, we'll hear a lot more about it because he's going to be in the Premier League next season.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's Conte, he'll tell us about it and just fucking kind of drop the mic and we'll never hear about it again.
That's what I was thinking. I don't think he gives, not that he doesn't give a fuck per se, but it will have no bearing on his job. Or
yeah, I think
whatever's
he's
gonna
just
happen.
done and he's ready to go fuck out of England and go back home, basically.
Yeah, weather sucks in England, man.
But
Who do you, early favorite, because this game is almost a month, or at least three, it's about a month away. Early favorite, who you got?
early favorite, Conte on his championship year lost to Arsene Wenger in a final. Where Mourinho, I think I'll just take him in a final over Conte. So
Same.
I'd kind of go with that.
Yeah, the Mourinho's record against the top 6 this year is pretty outstanding, actually, man. He's beaten everybody. Man of the match.
I gotta give it to Giroud for that. Fucking shimmy, shimmy, yeah.
Yeah, I got Hazard, man. 9 of 12 dribbles and assists, 5 key passes, 2 big chances.
Yes.
Balled out.
Yes.
Either one, man. Either one.
All of that.
Ballers.
But, you know, like in the FA Cup, there's this, like, the Ryan Giggs moment where he comes against Arsenal down the wing and he scores and he's running around with his jersey like a helicopter and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's Robbie Fowler. He had these moments. Like that Giroud thing is going to be part of the highlight reel long term, is what I meant. Like,
no doubt.
Hazard had a fucking great game, but Giroud had the moment that's going to be memorable.
For sure. All right, we're going to move on. FA Cup. We're going to move on to pretty much the only race left in Europe for a title, and that is Serie A. And Juventus come into this game with a 4-point lead up on Napoli. This is at Juventus. Napoli pretty much dominates this game, but they get nothing until...
Dude, this week I watched a fucking YouTube video. Jorginho playing fucking keepy-uppy with his fucking mom. Ball doesn't touch fucking ground for like 5 minutes. All in the air. Mom kicking it back with Jorginho.
Damn. It's in the
That
blood.
guy's a pass master in like at home, you know what I'm saying?
In the blood.
And they came to Turin and really imposed themselves on Juve. I've been saying how Juventus has been winning a lot of games or getting ties out of a lot of games where they've looked the worst team. And they kind of looked, it was going that way until like the 89th minute, you know?
Kalidou
Koulibaly
with a fucking monster header, man, off a corner. The 90th minute.
Corner, but the header, like, just to give you a perspective, people, because it wasn't on any fucking channel for some reason. He hit the header from the penalty spot.
Yeah.
Like, it was a corner, and then he hit the penalty from the penalty spot and bounced it. Like, he kind of like Shaq dunked it on him.
Yeah. It was some FIFA shit. It was some shit I've done in FIFA.
Yeah.
It was an off game for Dr. Dries, but Insigne and Callejon, they balled out. Costa and Pjanic in midfield balled out too, man. Khedira was kind of for Juve, man, there wasn't much going on. They lost Chiellini in the 11th minute. That's tough.
That's a really tough thing, because then it became Benedict Jones and Benatia, and I do not really trust either one of them. And as the game got longer and longer, Benatia is the guy that just gave Real Madrid the penalty a couple of days ago.
Yep.
But yeah.
So do you think that? So the stat we're looking at this, man. 60% possession for Napoli.
Away from home.
Away from home. 12 shots, 4 on goal. Juventus, 4 shots, none on goal. Did they come? Do you think? Did they come for the draw? They just came for the point, which is surprising to me, but it sure looks like that.
I think that Maximiliano Allegri is not getting the best out of this Juventus side, and I don't think they came for a point per se, but I thought they would be easier to get the 3 points.
It just fucking.
I don't think they were prepared for the battle that was ahead of them. Like
Mandzukic on the bench, the guy who just fucking
that
rocked
was a
Real Madrid,
and that was a Mandzukic kind of game. Like they were coming at him. Like the whole game, you needed somebody like him that's a wrecking ball. Just like all the Argentines are kind of tapering off this season. Like Douglas Costa has been a revelation the second half of the season, but it's even Pjanic. He's been off and on, you know. So Napoli is as a team the better team. Juventus has had a lot more better individual moments.
So this leaves Napoli 1 point back. We got 4 games remaining. So here we go. Napoli play Fiorentina, Torino, Sampdoria, Crotone. Juventus play Inter and Roma, and as well as Bologna and possibly Hellas Verona, who may be relegated, playing for relegation. I'm not sure. Obviously, with Inter and Roma, 2 teams that are still fighting for a Champions League spot, the Juventus path looks a little tougher.
And also, being Juventus, the Juventus path is tougher. Everybody in Italy hates you. So you're the Super Bowl every week. Like, you look at that and you're thinking, yeah, Juventus' path is tougher, but like they kind of lived that all season. You know what I'm saying?
So I've been pressing you every week about the Serie A race, and you've held steadfast that Juventus is going to do this. How you feeling this week?
I don't think so, because mainly because of Chiellini's
That's tough.
Yeah,
That's really tough.
The schedule, like, I think they'll both drop points, but because Napoli hasn't been in the hottest of form of late either.
No.
Like they have a small squad. They dropped a couple of points like 2 games ago too. But
yeah, I don't. Fiorentina, Sampdoria are no slouches, and Crotone is a team that just drew with Juventus a
couple of games ago.
Yeah, a couple of games ago.
Exactly. So,
Shit, midweek. What are we talking about?
Raja Nangolan, when asked about it, was like, I want Juventus to win. He plays for Roma, and they're like, what? He's like, look, we finished second to them like 3 years in a row. I don't want some fucking random to come and fucking win it.
Yeah, no doubt. Still rooting for Napoli over here.
Dude, I think it's going to be a much better party if Napoli wins it, so I hope Napoli takes it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Naples, baby.
The Black Hand is going to celebrate.
Yeah, for real. All right, man, moving along, man. We're going to head over to Spain. We're going to look at 2 Barcelona games here. We're going to look at their midweek matchup versus Celta Vigo and their Copa del Rey final versus Sevilla. Let's start midweek, though. Before we even get to the Copa, midweek, man, they play Celta Vigo, as we've discussed a number of times here, that they have a pretty stout offense, and they certainly fucking looked like it in this game.
Yeah, their own version of Leo Messi is Iago Aspas.
Woo!
It's like
Came off in that game.
It's like how Clyde Drexler used to be when Air Jordan used to play. He got his own team and he does just a little less, but like he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
But he seems like he's always ready for the big games. This game here, never really got a chance to go off when he wasn't really. When Liverpool got him, they had just got Luis Suarez, they had Sturridge, they had a bunch of guys. He never really got a chance, so he had to leave. But he's been comfortable here, and the guy is fast AF.
So let's talk a little lineup here. Messi did not start. Obviously, they got the Copa in mind a little bit. And the midfield, they did not run the 4-4-2, I do not believe, this match, because they had a 2-man midfield consisting of Andre Gomez and our boy, Paulinho Galinho.
Yeah, it was
super uninspiring.
After that game, which, I mean, they're essentially the resting players for the Copa, which turned into a pseudo Iniesta farewell party. There were rumors in the papers about how Messi and everybody was disappointed at the lack of quality when, like, if they rest or something, they don't handle their business, you know? Sergio Roberto got a red card in this game.
Yep, 71st minute, pulling Aspas
down.
Back, yeah.
It was a clear goal scoring opportunity. It was intentional. He wanted the red card. He got the red card.
Got him before he got to the box. So no penalty shot.
So at that point, it should have been 2-1 to Celta, and he prevented that from happening. And later, by their own cheat, by hitting it off their own arm, Celta managed to get that goal back.
Yep. But well deserved, man. And all in all, we both watched this game and we're talking about it like Barca's lucky to come away with the point. They probably should have lost this game. But hey,
it's funny, every fucking game, like, as soon as he steps on the field,
dude, Messi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it changes.
20 feet back.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Easy. Shouts out to Celta though, man. They balled out, man. Aspas.
That was one of the most fun teams to watch, man.
They were good, man.
I don't care.
Johnny Castro, solid as hell in the back.
We're doing the season.
I just love that name though.
Johnny Castro.
Yeah, Johnny Castro.
Yerry Mina does not. He needs time. The Barca defender. He doesn't really relax you when you're watching the game. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But if we at the end of the show and we're doing whatever and talking about the teams of the season and stuff, we do a teams like fun teams to watch, and Celta Vigo, we need to get into it and talk about them because they're fucking dope.
Yeah. So Barcelona continue their undefeated season. Boy, it's been a unpretty undefeated, but undefeated is undefeated. They come away with the point, inch a little bit closer to the title. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But then they show up Saturday and have Sevilla, who is just up in fucking LA. What do you care about Sevilla? Anything? Everything? This match? That competition? No competitions? I don't know. But I love your comment during the game, which was, this is a human sacrifice.
Dude, that's
for
the
San
only
Andres.
appropriate way to send off San Andres was for publicly emasculating a bunch of randoms in a fucking stadium for a cup. And it was like, if you saw the reaction and the faces of Evan Banega and all these guys after the game, you just completely just stole their souls, man. Like, it was like 3-0 early. Like, it was all beautiful goals, and like that was not even the half of it. Like, Messi put on a show, everybody was making the runs, Phil Coutinho was doing his thing. Like, it was
Best performance of the season?
Easily, by far.
Yeah.
Only performance of the season.
They put out the big guns, the entire full-strength team, minus Ter Stegen, because he doesn't play the cup games, I guess. That whole thing.
Yeah, but I don't think he's also... I don't know, he's feeling blah blah, so they didn't play him. Didn't matter. They weren't planning to let the guys have the ball anyway, so they could have played you and goal.
Yeah, that was beautiful goals, man. If you have not seen the highlights of this game, look at that. The Messi through ball to Suarez was fucking ridiculous.
The 1-2, yes, that was ridiculous.
The back pass from Jordi
Alba to Messi, that was beautiful.
Yep.
Messi to Iniesta, and the Iniesta
yes.
the shiver move that froze the dude.
And the angle at which he put the ball in the goal, though.
Yeah, it was just like complete domination. I mean, I think after that, like, they should have just tied all of them up and lit them on fire. And sacrifice them to the Lord.
Sevilla, I just don't know what the fuck, man. This is their 7th game in a row without a win in all competitions.
But what you're going to remember about this season is that Sevilla knocked Manchester United out of the Champions League.
Absolutely.
Played Bayern Munich very respectably.
Yep.
Over 2 legs.
Yep.
And they got shit on by
and then they're gonna miss Europe. They're gonna.
They got shit on.
It's like.
You're not gonna remember the missing Europe part because you're not gonna remember them. You're just gonna remember getting shit on in the final.
Faux show. Barcelona with their first trophy of the season. They have not lost to Sevilla in 8 straight matches. This is still not a consolation for the UCL loss, but still, trophy's a trophy. And they'll be looking for their second one, as they are pretty damn close to the title, and 5 games from a perfect La Liga season, which has never happened, if I'm correct.
Yeah, something about like it happened in the 1920 somethings before football was around or some shit. But having a team and playing Jesus Navas as a right back and hoping to get a win against another team that has Luis Suarez on it.
Yeah.
Just
Good luck, homie. Good luck, homie.
I don't know what you're thinking, but no.
Man of the match.
Messi. Like, he moved the ball, like, he directed the play. He made the right passes to everybody. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I had Iniesta. Just because it's Iniesta.
He
Balled
deserved
out.
it. Yeah, Luis Suarez too had a double in it, and it was good.
Really quick question.
Goal and assist, but
Really
Messi.
quick question about Iniesta. Like, it's obvious that he's not an everyday player. We know this. He obviously still has value. Why don't you keep him? Why don't you keep him and just fucking play him in Europe or something?
Who, Iniesta?
Yeah.
Oh no, there's a standing offer for him to stay.
You
They're
know,
not.
He wants to go. He wants to play. to go dominate the Chinese Super League?
No, like the financial deal is like such that like he'll have like such huge access to the Chinese market. Like he has like wineries and shit in fucking Spain that he's gonna unload out there. Like he's gonna really flip his money like by numbers that he wouldn't be able to like forget Barca anywhere in Europe.
Okay.
Come up with 1 billion people around.
drank some wine. Drank some Spanish wine.
Have some of this Boone's Farm Iniesta. This Buenos Farm.
All right, man. We're gonna move along. We're gonna segue right into La Liga roundup, man. They have midweek games, weekend games, some interesting results going on. We're gonna start you off with our favorites, who we just mentioned, Sevilla playing Deportivo, who were sitting in the relegation zone, and all they could manage was a 0-0 draw.
Yes, and Deportivo. It's looking more and more like they're going up, but they still are numerically available, and they might make it. But Klaus Seedorf, it's looking like his message is getting there a little bit.
Got it? Yeah.
It might have been a day late and $1 short, but like he's been picking up points here and there, and I don't know. Let's see how they do, because they're 4 points away from the safety spots, and it's going to be interesting.
After that thrilling 0-0 Deportivo Sevilla match, like I mentioned, the Celta Barcelona game, then we lead into Villarreal at home to Leganes, and Villarreal come away with the 2-1 victory.
Yeah, Carlos Baca scored in this game, and Villarreal have been up and down, but they're looking like they might finagle themselves a place in Europe next season.
For sure, man. Especially with the way Sevilla is just like, I don't know, throwing the towel in, or they're trying. Anyway, moving along. Slightly disappointing. The other V team, Valencia, Getafe, and they come away with the 2-1 loss to Getafe. This is at home, Valencia.
Courtesy of?
You tell me?
Ex-Chelsea striker, injury-ridden Marseille player, Loic Remy, had a fucking double and just destroyed things.
Oh, Remy. Never treats me right, man.
Hey.
No doubt,
Messed
man.
them up, too.
Yeah, Getafe sitting mid-table, but still solid, man. Valencia, they've got their top four solidified. They really don't. There's not much they're playing for. It seems like they really don't give a fuck.
And Dani Parejo gets a straight red card in this game, so
Ooh, he'll be out.
Yeah.
Tough out there. Moving along, Espanyol, Ibar with the 1-0 over Espanyol. Bunch of mid-table
some
teams.
blah stuff. Espanyol is done for the season, so I gave him 3 points.
Something that brings joy to my heart is Real Madrid drawing to Bilbao, 1-1.
Yes, and this game had the contender for goal of the week. Iñaki Williams' chip goal for the Athletic Bilbao was
nice.
Abso-fucking-lutely sublime.
Anunnaki?
Iñaki.
Okay. Got you. Man, on the other side of Madrid, actually not in Madrid, but on the other side, they took a shellacking midweek from Real Sociedad. Sociedad put it on them 3-0.
Yes. Willian Jose opened the scoring, and the substitute Wanmi had a double, but the story here, in my opinion, is Adnan Januzaj, ex of Manchester United, ex of Borussia Dortmund, the fucking running joke, man of the match for this game, tore Atletico Madrid up.
What?
Yes, like had him running around, dude.
They trotted out a strong team for this.
Yeah, they didn't have Diego
Atletico.
Costa due to his injury,
Hammy.
and he might not be back for the first leg against Arsenal.
Arsenal.
But Kevin Gamero has been like really solid this season. It's just they have a small squad, and it's getting to be time. And sometimes you blink, and the other team is at home, and Sociedad is more motivated, and they just played a nice game and completely dominated them. And big up to Diego Simeone, who after this game was like, no excuses. They outplayed us and they fucking deserved it.
It happens, man. With that loss, Atletico basically hand the league to Barcelona. Barcelona 1 win away from the title at this point. Continuing on with the rest of the midweek games, Alaves hosting Girona. Girona with the 2-1 win. Alaves mid-table, Girona
About the same.
more mid-table stuff, man.
Yeah,
Still punching above their weight for a first-year team out of the
it's interesting to
League
see
Two.
if they finish in the Europa League spots, but like I told you before, I'm not that excited about it because the players that will get to that position won't be
Peace.
on the team by the time we get there. So
Yep. On a run as of late, as mentioned a number of times, distancing themselves from relegation is Levante. And they put it on definitely getting relegated Malaga 1-0. As much as you can put it on somebody 1-0.
hey, especially when you consider that Malaga had a tie game later in the week, putting 1-0 on them is putting it on them.
But Betis, very nice surprise for the season, man. Real Betis, 5th place currently, take away the 1-0 victory over Las Palmas.
Yes, Real Betis is playing really, really good football. And Las Palmas is out of gas, Holmes.
Peace. They're done. Malaga, Las Palmas, done. Moving along to the weekend games. Friday, Leganes, Deportivo, and Deportivo comes away with another point with a 0-0 draw. Clarence, Mourinho, Seedorf going for them points, man.
Getting them points, yo.
They sit 6 back of safety from relegation, but Levante has a game in hand. It would take a relative miracle for them to survive.
Yeah, that's what they heard him. Clarence Seedorf has won the Champions League with 3 different clubs. He does miracles.
It does miracles. Well, if they survive, it would certainly be one. Saturday, Getafe 1-0 over Eibar. Getafe sitting 8th, man. Tied with Sevilla. Sevilla in their free fall.
Getafe, I would say at the beginning of the season, they would set out to finish around 8th, and they managed it. They should be very happy with their season. Sevilla, I think at the beginning of the season, they never had a meeting to see where they want to finish. So they don't know how they feel about where they are right now.
For sure. Very odd game here. Celta Vigo, Valencia. It finished 1-1, but again, keeping with that theme that we talked about Valencia last week, I believe it was, against Barcelona. Like, offensively, man, they just put up so much more activity than Celta Vigo, which is surprising when you think about it, and they still only came away with the point.
Yeah, and Maxi Gomez scored for Celta, and Santimina from Gonzalo Guedes, who Valencia are really going to miss next year if they don't sign him from PSG, because he's a loanee. That kid balled out, and I don't know. Without Dani Parejo to get that fucking result was big.
No doubt. Sunday, Girona hosting Espanyol, and Girona again come away with the 2-0 victory, racking up points.
Girona lost
I have it written wrong. Excuse me. Espanyol with the 2-0.
Gerard Moreno, both assisted from Sergi Darder.
Thank you for being here for me, man. If I was doing this solo, I'd be wrong.
The one game.
Amazingly enough, man, Sociedad off their 3-0 over Atletico Madrid. Follow that up with a 2-0 loss to Malaga.
What do you see in... one thing is they lost to the bottom team after beating the second place team. But one was at home and one was away.
It's tough out there.
Yo, Sociedad, they're at home. They like where they play. The fucking stadium is like small but very raucous. They perform well. But when they leave, Malaga is a very talented team that's under fuckery, you know? Like, they'll get you if you're not ready to play an away game.
Mm-hmm. And get them, they did. Got all 3 points. Total irrelevance to their relegation battle, though. There's no relegation battle. I believe they're relegated already.
Yeah.
Moving along, Las Palmas, another team. got the shellacking from Alaves 4-0.
Yeah, they put it on him, dude.
It's a wrap. The last interesting match of that day, or an interesting result in the last match of the day, Atletico, Real Betis, 2nd versus 5th, and that game ends 0-0. Atletico now drop 5 points over the course of a week.
Yes. And Barcelona could essentially win the league without even playing at this point.
Absolutely. It's done. And I looked at the lineup. Atletico didn't even field a strong team. They clearly have given up on the league. They got their eye towards Arsenal in Europa next week, or this coming week.
I don't know whether it's because they've given up on the league clearly or not, but whatever their situation is, there were a lot of guys over the past week that you thought, these guys need to sit down.
Yep.
So I wasn't surprised by the time, like you said, he started resting them. It was way late. I've been talking about this for more than a month.
Yeah.
Small fucking squad.
And for today's game, Levante, again, the 3-1 victory over Athletic Bilbao. Moving along, top 4 looks like Barcelona, Atletico, Real Madrid, Valencia. Barcelona need 1 point to clinch. They play Deportivo La Coruña this week. Coruña. They play them this week. Relegation, a team in relegation at the moment, probably going to be relegated. Barcelona can wrap it up and then go to Real Madrid the following week, where they will not get the Guard of Honor.
Few things about the Guard of Honor. First off, who the fuck cares? Secondly, if they were to have it, it's for accomplishments for you won the league that we played in together. You know, like, if you go out and do something else and go beat somebody else up, why should they applaud you?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh yeah, we're really mad because they didn't clap us after the Club World
Guard
Cup.
of Honor after the Club World Cup.
And like, no, you don't get this. Like, you're playing in this tournament with us, and we beat you to it. The other tournament is an invitational.
It's whack. It's so whack, man. Anyway, is there any part of you?
Why do people like require the clapping? Because it's just to really just like kind of fucking flex on them.
Hey, man, you're supposed to honor the champs. The
Okay.
champ is here. With the, is there any bone in your body that hopes Barcelona drops points so they can win the league at Real Madrid? They would have to lose the Deportivo this week.
No,
Wrap it up.
always win the league.
Walk in the Bernabeu champs. That's how I
Sure.
like it. That's how I like it too.
Yeah. Always
For
get
sure.
the points, man.
For show. Top goal scorer is Messi with 29, Ronaldo 24, Suarez 23. That is your La Liga roundup. Now we're going to hit you with the EPL roundup. We got midweek games here too, to make up for the FA Cup stuff and all that nonsense. Blase midweek. Our boys Tottenham are on a continuous nap apparently. They draw Brighton 1-1.
Harry Kane was happy because even though they didn't get the win, he got
Got a goal.
a goal.
An actual goal that he actually
didn't have
scored.
to,
He didn't steal from
appeal.
anybody else.
He didn't win it while people were sleeping and there was a meeting.
People were sleeping.
Yeah.
Disappointing again. Tottenham 1-1. Like I said, Bournemouth took a 2-0 loss to Manchester United. Lukaku and Smalling, I think, with the goals here.
Yes, Chris Smalling and Romelu with the goals. Paul Pogba had another assist in this game.
Ball out. Southampton Leicester with a thrilling 0-0. Leicester's just been like
Leicester's
they've been on
turned
coast.
off, dude.
They've been on coast.
Yeah,
They're
man.
like, yeah, we're done. We're not
If
really
you make a
good.
couple of mistakes, Vardy will chase the ball and beat you, or Mahrez will fuck you up. But if not, like, you can take it.
Yeah, they're coast.
They're not gonna go down.
Interesting game. This was relatively important matchup at the time. Burnley hosting Chelsea. Chelsea come away with 2-1.
And weird team. Chelsea put out a weird fucking team. They had the strike double of Giroud and Morata.
And Morata, that's right.
And then they played the 3-man, so it was like a kind of a 3-5-2. That's the game that they had Bakayoko and all them cats playing. And it was a weird one.
Well, that was the midweek. And Saturday opens up with something that I love to see. And that is the old Liverpool team. They go up 2-0 on relegation-bound West Brom. They walk away with a 2-2. This was in the 70th minute that it was like 2-0.
79th and 88th minute goals.
Whoops.
Yes. Danny Ings scored his first goal since the last time before that thing with the guy and that place and
yeah. When
guy.
Brendan Rodgers was the coach.
Sure, that. Since then, for the first time, he scored a goal.
Salah scored too.
Salah had a goal. His own. He made it. Allah, it was a nice goal.
Yeah, no doubt. Liverpool, they kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like a whatever game. Top
West
4 is
Brom,
relatively secured. West Brom still fighting. Respect.
But West Brom, I don't know if they did, but they could have mathematically got eliminated on Sunday. This game was on Saturday.
For sure, man. West Brom, man. Fighting to the end, though. Respect to that, like I said. And then we get that followed with a thrilling 0-0 between Watford and Crystal Palace.
That shit was a fucking war. I really enjoyed watching that game.
Watford should have walked away with that point, man. At least, the 3 points.
I don't know. I think that Zaha, where he got the yellow card, was fouled twice on that play before he got the simulation yellow card on the third move. So,
no doubt.
It was a dirty, it was old English football. It was a bunch of really tall guys just jumping in and just tackling in weird ways.
No doubt. Respect to the 0-0.
I appreciated that.
Sunday, Burnley.
And it didn't really mean a lot for either one, so I appreciated that.
Oh, no doubt. Palace still need a little safety. I think they're good, but either way. Sunday, Burnley follow up with another disappointing performance against Stoke and the 1-1 draw. Stoke might have should have won this one as well.
Yeah, but as they might have should have won that, they're going to be in the championship next year, and Burnley's going to be in Europe.
Word up. And then Arsenal's first game after Arsene announced his stepping down looked like typical Arsenal up until about the 60-something minute. It was 1-1.
I was like, yo, are they going to fuck up the Arsenal goodbye game?
Come on, son. Come on.
And then?
Yeah. Lacazette, Ramsey.
Nacho started the scoring, and then Arnautovic balanced it out. But then, after they quietened down the atmosphere, they figured out how to get back in the game.
For sure, man. They did, man.
Ramzinho has been on a rich fucking vein of form, and he
nice,
topped it
man.
off with a nice goal again. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
They were making fun of Harry Kane because what's his name? Aubameyang was like, nice goals, but I'm going to have to claim the lack of the Aaron Ramsey, like the Harry Kane.
Everybody's on him for that, man. It's kind of unbecoming of Harry Kane. So everybody's
Kinda?
like, well, it was a surprising thing, man. I don't know. It's a weird thing to be trying to claim teammates' goals, and it's like he's never struck me as that super arrogant dude to be like that, or that whatever. Anyway, what do you?
Right, overthinking it. He had a bitch move, and everybody calling it a bitch move.
Why I said anyway. Dude, fuck it. My question, I meant to ask it earlier in the Arsene section was 3 players on Arsenal won't be there next year.
That won't be there?
Won't be there.
I don't know. The Jack Wilshere situation is now up in the air. Because if you had asked me this question last week, I would have started off that list with Jack Wilshere. Per Mertesacker is retiring, so.
Doesn't count. Yeah. I'm thinking players that are probably there because of Arsene, new coach, peace.
on the immediate, I think they actually have a decent squad, and if they get a couple of complementary pieces, actually, they're okay. You know? Like Bellerin, I don't think is going to be there.
Okay.
Bellerin won't be there.
Welbeck?
He's going to be there.
Eleni?
Where the fuck is he going to go? To Egypt?
I mean, wherever, motherfucker. I don't know. The bottom of the table.
No, when you're telling me, like, who do you think is going to
Iwobi.
leave? Like, as players that I think will find a better situation for themselves than being in Arsenal. That's why you leave. Like, when you feel like X situation is going to be better than for me.
Well, when new coach shows up and says, yeah, you're not in my plans, bruh. You need to find a new team, which happens. That's what I'm thinking.
But what I'm saying is, when you're Stan Kroenke, you're hiring new coach saying, this is the team. And then I can get you two guys.
That's a good point. Good point. And then we were treated to a delightful, you want to crown their ass? Crown their ass. Manchester City destruction of Swansea City. 5-0. Wonderful, wonderful KDB goal. I mean, I just love that they came out and still are playing.
I mean, it's Swansea too. It's not exactly
It's Swansea for sure.
Like,
But
they've
they've
made much smaller teams than Chelsea. I mean, than City look spectacular this season. Like, jobs have been saved by playing against Swansea, man. And even now, I would say Southampton catching Swansea is not out of the realm of possibility. They might still go down.
No doubt. They are still in the balance. Man, wicked goal by KDB. Please check that out if you have not.
Absolutely gorgeous golazo. From way the fuck out.
Way out. Just bullet. Today's game, Everton with the 1-0 over Newcastle. Ooh. Big Sam with the 3 points.
Over his own team.
Theo Walcott with the goal. Boom. What? All right. I don't even want to mention City at top. So, United, Liverpool, Tottenham sit there, 74 points, 70 points, and 68 respectively. Chelsea 5 points behind Tottenham with 4 games to go. Burnley, Arsenal, Burnley, rounded out. Relegation, West Brom, Stoke, and Southampton as it's been. Golden Boot race, Salah with 31, Kane 26, Aguero, who is done for the year, 21. Boom. All right, we're going to move on, and we have semifinals in both European competitions this week. I'm going to start you off with Europa League, Marseille, Salzburg. How you feeling about that?
Très bon. Très bien. Très bon. Whatever.
Yeah.
All of that. I'm throwing my support behind the Marseille cause. The first African city in Europe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Little Afrique.
Mini Afrique.
Yeah, I think it obviously could be wide open.
It
Salzburg
could be wide open. Salzburg plays some really good football.
Yeah, word up. Who do you have first leg at home?
Marseille.
In the Velodrome?
Velodrome.
Velodrome. Yeah, Marseille.
Yeah. Their fans are insane. The teams, the players, Valérie Germain, Thoman, Dimitri Payet, second half of the season.
Yeah.
Like, these guys have been on fire, and
I certainly would like to see them in the final over Salzburg, but I just cannot count Salzburg out, man. Especially after that performance last round.
Yeah, and
against Lazio.
I wonder how we'll feel about which team we would like to see in the final after watching these 2 games. You know, because one team we just feel like we know a little better.
It's true. It's a good point. And the other one, as we all know, Arsenal versus Atletico. First leg is at the Emirates. How you feeling about that?
The first leg being at Emirates is good for Arsenal because they can establish themselves, but Diego Costa not being able to play in the first leg is huge for them because they're one of his favorite opponents to play against, and he could have fucked them up. But I still think that an away win is not beyond the realm of possibility. In fact, I am putting my
Atletico.
To get at least an away goal that's maybe at least a point off.
They get 2 away goals. I feel like the tie will be done. If they get 1, Arsenal will have a remote chance in hell. I think Arsenal needs a 2-0 to have a chance of progressing here.
Any winning position after the first leg, you'll kind of take. But I think that Antoine Griezmann himself is going to be good for at least 1 moment and 1 goal. So
pretty excited for that matchup, man.
Yeah,
like to see
Saul
that.
Niguez, Antoine Griezmann, like the defensive, the players that they have, like
on paper and just on thoughts, like you just don't feel like Arsenal's going to be. They just don't have the grit to deal with a team like Atletico. The way they play, so physical, but they got a lot of quality still.
Like Atletico Madrid earlier in the season, they were in the Champions League and they kind of went out to the whimper.
Oh, for sure.
And even like this past week, like you were talking about, Sociedad kind of like went out to the whimper,
Mm-hmm.
And
so they're susceptible, that's for sure.
They are susceptible, but I still think they're gonna get at the very least a scoring tie. But I'm gonna bank Atletico Madrid probably a 2-1 win at Emirates.
I'm just glad I got something to do on Thursday. But on Tuesday,
I think it's gonna be a fun game.
Yeah, I do too. Tuesday, the battle of the Burgundy jerseys. Liverpool hosting Roma. How you feel about that?
That is going to be a very interesting matchup. And Liverpool's offense at home on a Champions League night is going to be something for them to contend with. But Roma, they're a veteran team. Like they'll come in prepared. It's just.
I think they'll need at least an away. They'll need to score 1 at least, and they need to not give up more than 3.
Who?
Roma, to have a chance in the second league. And it's hard to say because obviously we really thought they had no chance against Barcelona. But in my general estimation, like if they need an away goal here, because fucking Liverpool is going to score in Rome.
I'm not as confident in that Liverpool scoring in the Rome part. But
why?
I don't know. The coach has impressed me in Champions League play and how he did the Barca where he changed the formation the game before. On that particular game that they hadn't even played all season to stop a much better team. I'm like, I don't see why they can't do it.
Yeah. So, what do you got? Score. Give me score line.
The score line on
Liverpool Roma.
3-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, same here. Who do you have for the tie? You think Liverpool goes through?
I don't know.
It's up in the air. I think it's up in the air too.
I think it's very close, and like I said, Roma has this inexplicable thing about them going on right now, and how they came back historically against Barca and all that. I'm not gonna write them off.
If the poet, agreed.
They've beaten Atletico, they've beaten Chelsea, they've beaten Barca. They can beat Liverpool.
They
can beat anybody.
True. And I feel like there is some poetry going on with the whole, Coutinho. I'm in Barcelona, and then Liverpool makes the semifinals, and so it would be so fucking awesome to see Roma go to the final with Salah. Oops. All right, moving along, man. Battle of the fascists: Bayern versus Real Madrid. Bayern at home for the first leg. What do you think?
I think Bayern wins.
2-1?
I don't know. They're gonna give them a shutout, actually.
Really? Nobody's really picking Bayern here.
I don't know.
No, that's fine. I was just saying. Do you think they can, even if they were, say they win this 2-0, Madrid still go through?
No.
You got Bayern in the final?
I think the Bayern is, every year there's a champion, and then the next year everybody goes, I'm not going to eliminate the champion until somebody beats them, right? Madrid has won it in back-to-back years, and deservedly, everybody believes in them. But if you look at ever since the coach came back to Bayern Munich, the football that Bayern Munich has been playing since the time Ancelotti got fired and this guy started, and if you look at the football that Real Madrid has been playing in that same time, then I don't think that it's a stretch to think that Bayern Munich should beat Real Madrid.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they can. They can. I just think from just a general, neutral standpoint, it's kind of tough to pick against Madrid. But fuck them. I want them to lose so bad.
Yes, me too. that is the obsession.
Roma Bayern. That's what I want. All right, man. That's the Champions League preview. Gonna move along. Award section. Dude of the week goes to.
Dude of the week goes to. Jonas Hector. Play for 0-1 or whatever FC Cologne, as they're known. His team is getting relegated. His contract, they're not all the way numerically relegated, but they're about to get relegated. His contract has a release clause for relegation in it, and he scrapped the release clause and signed a 2-year extension with the club because he wants to help out the club.
He's like their best player, you were saying, yeah?
He was the starting left back for Germany throughout the last Euros and is expected to be at this current World Cup.
Okay. Goal of the week goes to.
Goal of the week we would have to give to Mr. Kalidou Koulibaly, who...
Hell yeah.
I did not know heads could be so powerful. He just, in the moment and the time of the game, the setting, everything, was just, he made the season.
Word up. Goal of the week. Moving along, twat happened. Moment of the week goes to
Jurgen Klopp. After giving up the 2-0, he went off on the post-match talking shit about the West Brom pitch, and also just generally talking much shit about how they're going to be in the relegated soon anyways.
What was the point, dude? Like, you got your, shut the fuck up, dude. You just want to rub it in their face? Like, they battled back. They took that point rightfully, man.
I think he'll try to do some dominating shit. Motivating shit for his fucking guys in front of the Roma game.
Yes, man.
He just looked like an idiot.
And also, as a twat happened moment, we'd like to shout out the PFA award for Player of the Year, which went to Mo Salah with 4 games left in the season, which was voted on like 3 weeks ago.
Which Pep doesn't care about these awards, but he would take some time out to be a twat and join this list, because he told us how much he does not like the award, but that Kevin De Bruyne should have won the award over Mo Salah because his guy is so much better than the other guy, but the award doesn't matter because his guy didn't win.
It's just a total all-around twat tap. What the fuck, people? Word up, man. Upcoming next week, EPL. We have one big matchup, United hosting Arsenal, the final time that Mourinho and Arsene will meet in the Premier League. Probably,
yes. And big picture currently, it's not really a game that means much. It's funny. This late in the season, Manchester and Arsenal are kind of set in where they're going to be. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think Moo wouldn't mind rubbing that in his eye a little bit. I think it'll mean a lot to both of them.
Both like it. I'm just saying, like, at the beginning of their careers, their games were a lot more high stake than they are
It's true.
at this state of their careers, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Just to mention La Liga race, again, Alaves hosting Atletico and Deportivo hosting Barcelona. I expect Barcelona to wrap this up. All they need is a point. Serie A race, Inter hosting Juventus and Fiorentina hosting Napoli. Those are kind of a delectable treat.
Really like
Two
the
games
way-
that probably you're not going to be showing anyway. But go ahead.
Nah, they're gonna show them. The Fiorentina team is fun to watch, and when they're on, they can be dangerous. Inter is very actually boring to watch, but Mauro Icardi and Pjanic, not Pjanic, the winger. Anyways, they've been doing the thing.
For Fiorentina?
No,
Oh, for Inter.
Perisic.
Yeah.
Perisic have been doing the thing, but other than that, they're really uninteresting.
I hope Napoli does not show up because it has the hallmark written of a letdown game. Word up, man. Nothing in League One, nothing in Bundesliga. That match is in the books. Diving for Glory, episode 35. That's what it is. As always, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate anyone who takes the time to check us out. Don't forget, Diving for Glory posts every Monday. Check us on iTunes and divingforglory.com. You can also find us on YouTube. Video D4G next season, man. Follow us on Twitter at Diving for Glory and Facebook as well. Follow it, hashtag it, like it, and add us. Till next week. Of course, Yola, Solomon.
Thank you.
Match.
Diving.
What are you doing?
He's not a man. There's nothing more to say.
Diving.